Sego. My name is James Wilson. I'm from Six Nations of the Grand River, and I'm a singer-songwriter musician. I've been playing music for about 7 or 8 years now. I'm Mohawk. My family was we're named the Singing Hills of the Reserve of the Six Nations. So I never actually got to meet anybody in my family that was a singer, but like it was my great grandfather and stuff that but that's it. Music is in the bloodline. And just recently I released an album with Indigenous artist Jace Martin on the Six Nations, and it's been going good. It's my song City Lights got number 4 on the Indigenous Music Countdown, which is really cool. And I also recently within the past 2 years I've been teaching the youth on the reserve, because I found that's another passion of mine, teaching, not just playing music for myself. I want to give my talent to others also, and teach kids to embrace their talents, embrace their hobbies and stuff as a profession, not just a hobby. Yeah, I've been playing music for about 7 or 8 years now, and I started teaching about 2 years ago, and it's like a dual passion. Like I have two separate passions going at the same route. Like I don't just want to teach the youth. I want to kind of like use it as like a form of therapy in my community. I want to bring my music into not just the youth, but like just even the elders and the and just everybody in my community, because music to me was a big form of healing and a form of therapy. So I'm also in school right now for social working, because I find that the information that is brought in that course really helps when working with different people, and just understanding how to work in a therapy setting, you know. So yeah, I always wanted to take music, but my parents kind of told me, do the social working thing, you already got the music thing. But maybe one day I'll do that. When I was a kid, I was really shy, and I wouldn't actually like I didn't have very many friends, and I would never go on stage and talk. You know, I probably, my parents thought I was the last person that I'd get up and sing, and thinking back, I think it was just I seen some artists that I just seen the way they were, the confidence they had on stage, how grounded they were, like who they knew who they were, you know, and they were proud to be who they were. So I was like that's who I want to be, you know. So I started. My grandma bought me my first guitar, and I started just playing, learning songs that I thought I could do, like the easiest songs, right? It like I had a lot of support within my community, with like a lot of mentors. I had like Derek Miller and Lacey Hill, all those great musicians. They really took me under their wing, and they taught me how to write songs, how to do performances. And that, right when I started writing songs, that was the biggest impact for me on my music, is because I learned how to self-reflect, which is crucial for anybody. Just learning how to self-reflect. You know, I never did journal writing before that. I never did everything, but it taught me to like really think about situations. Like if I'm feeling upset, like write about it. You know, think back, why might I be upset? Why might a string of different things be resulting in how I'm feeling right now? So music kind of helped me do that, helped me to understand who I, like my story, you know, and it had me really reflect on just who I am and who my family is and my ancestry, really. Well, for me, I grew up I was born and I grew up on the reserve, but my family, many of my family members, they're not longhouse or any of that. And I found out later in life that it was due to the residential schools and stuff. And I never really got to embrace my culture besides going to like powwows and telling people that I was Indigenous, but I didn't truly know what it meant to be Indigenous. And I found when I got into doing music, I started playing at a lot of Indigenous events where there'd be elders speaking, telling stories, and just even just like working with other artists, Indigenous artists, right? Hearing their stories and where they came from. I started to understand where I came from, and I started asking more questions like why don't we speak the language? Why don't I know all these things, right? And just kind of connecting all these things back. So music was like allowed me to really like have that interaction with others, have that interaction where I think if I didn't have music, I probably would be at the same mentality that I was at before, where if somebody asked me like, you're Indigenous, tell me about that, I probably wouldn't be able to tell you too much, right? Besides just what my grandma's house was like, what, like what a powwow is, you know what I mean? But I didn't understand the actual meaning behind it, so being in music kind of helped me to go into those events, and like learn, it's just constant learning. That's the thing. And yeah, so I think that's one big thing that music really helped me. Now I'm alone, I turn to what I know, this box of strings. A thing that I would pursue, more of something that I would just do, like be around a campfire, like, oh hey, I know how to play guitar. I thought it was gonna be one of those things, and then once I started playing more music, I started seeing my siblings and their friends like being so impressed at what I was doing. Like I remember like my sister just like trying to learn chords on the guitar right after she watched me do a show or something like that. And that was like, I'm making an impact on the youth, And then right when I realized that, that's when I wanted to get into teaching, because I was like, I had so much support, like through my career, with all my mentors and stuff like that. It's like, I have to give back. And that was like a part of my teachings growing up. That's what my family put on me, like you have to give what you were given. You know what I mean? Like you have to, like do the same. So like right now, that's one thing I'm really, really passionate about is ensuring that the youth have the same or more opportunities than I had, progressing in music, because it is a really hard industry, and what I found was when I would do performances off reserve for competitions and stuff, I went to a high school in Hamilton because they had a really good music program, and my parents would drive me every day to be in this program, and they sent me out to the States, to Nashville, Boston, New York City for competitions and stuff. And even recently in 2017, we got to sing at the the MMVAs. We sang backup for Lorde, and that was really cool. But it felt like very cutthroat, like like everybody wanted to be better than like each other, and not in a good way. It was more of like, if you're better than me, then I get cut out and I'm not able to do a show like this, So it was like I always felt that. But on the reserve, when I was doing my music, it was almost like everybody was supportive. It was like, oh, like if like a venue was saying, hey, do you know any good artists, like I'd name all the upcoming artists that I know from my reserve first, above all, before I start naming artists that are from off reserve. That it's just because that support, like I want to give that support where I was supported, right? Oh no. Well, I think about this a lot, because I think it changed this mentality that I had, like what legacy I want to leave. It changed a lot from when I started to now. Like when I first started, I had the typical, like I wanted to be a rock star. Like I just wanted to put out albums and I wanted to just be a successful musician. But then once I got older, I started realizing there's more to that. There's more to making money with what you know what I mean? There's a lot more to it. Like I found my legacy like really, really stuck in the kids, you know what I mean? Like they remembered my songs, and they were able to come back to me like a year later and say, look, I learned all these songs because you took that step to teach me my first chord, or so that was really impactful for me, because like I was like, what legacy am I going to leave? I want to leave it with the youth. You know what I mean? I want them to be still telling my story and continuing what I gave to them. You know what I mean? To their youth. I think that's what I come to the conclusion that's what I want to leave. I want to leave that strength to just that, and the confidence within the youth. To like just you could do anything. I tell my siblings that you don't have to do music. You could use this for even just sports. You know what I mean? You just have to find what you love, find what you're passionate about, and just like forget what anybody else says. If it's like only take positive messages, and and just really work to empower yourself, and surround yourself with other people that empower you, and really cutting out those people that don't. So that's what I always tell the youth. Just, it doesn't have to be music. Just find what it is that makes you. Find what, and even if you don't find that, you have to explore. You have to try out new things, and it'll come, but you're not gonna get those experiences if you don't try. Some of the greatest and most successful people in this world, I study a lot for the reason that it gives me confidence, because if you read about like people that are extremely successful in whatever they do, they have failed more times than anybody. I would say, and like I said, ensure that you're surrounded with people that empower your talent, and tell you can do it. And even when you fail, don't think that as like, I'm done. Like a lot of people, once they fail once, they're just like, I can't do it anymore. They do one bad show and it's over, but it should never be like that. Everything should be a learning curve. There's no failing. The only failure is the step you don't take. Also, like trying to find like allies, people that are doing the same thing that you're doing, or people that just respect what you're doing, and they might be the ones that introduce you to the person that, I don't know, says that they want to produce your album, or says that, or says that, I want you to come here because I see a lot of potential in you. You know what I mean? The only way to get to that point is to experience, fail, and then fail again probably, and then you'll get there, So failure should not be something that it should be something that like encourages you to keep going on, shouldn't discourage you.